came to the theatre on an interim role in 2017, and I walked in through the doors, and it sounds cheesy, but it was love at first sight. I saw this theatre that wasn't really loved and hadn't really been developed, and the massive potential because there were so many people who did care about the theatre and who did want to work with the theatre, but it just wasn't being given the opportunity to expand as much as it could. So when the opportunity came up to set up a community interest company to take the theatre over, I jumped at the chance, and we've been in love ever since.
I'm Chris Blurton. I'm the chairman of the music festival that's been here at the Palace Theatre every year since 1941. There's something special about this theatre. When the curtains go back and you're stood on stage there, gives you a feeling like no other, really, I think. And I performed at the festival when I was 7 or 8 perhaps, for the first time, and coming up on stage and feeling nervous and sitting down at the piano, and I still feel nervous like that when the curtains go back. Even now there's something special about it, and it gives you that feeling in your stomach, and it's a special place.
I'm Caroline, and this is my mum Georgie, and we've been coming to the theatre since 1958.
The end of 1958. But I saw a notice outside about a festival, and I wondered what this festival was. And I inquired, and I thought, oh, dancing, that's lovely. So I popped in and had a look, and I really enjoyed it. And at the same time, I think my daughter, we started her off at dancing school, wasn't it?
Yes.
Deval. Yes, I became wardrobe mistress when the Festival Theatre was open. I took over from the lady who was here. I was helping her in the meantime. So at that time, the little wardrobe was down the bottom in the basement under the stairs. Then we joined the Paignton Operatic. My husband and I joined the Paignton Operatic, and eventually the pantomime. And they all performed in this theatre.
Oh, this stage means so much to me. It's got so many memories. Late 50s I was here. First pantomime I've been about this big. I was about 7 or 8, I suppose. Where the Rainbow Ends. My brother was in it, and my mum and my dad were in it. And then I've done every pantomime since then, up until I was 16. It's altered a bit since then. The stage hasn't, apart from the flooring, but the theatre was flat and there was a balcony. Of course, that's all gone now. And still perform here today. 60 years later, still here.
Not only is the theatre very special to me, but the people that I work with are amazing too. These are people that work all hours with a smile on their face and just deal with everything. And then we have our Clive, who has been at the theatre longer than any of us, knows every single nook and cranny, and is there. If anything happens, you know that Clive will be there just to sort it out.
Came here in the first pantomime I went to was 1980, when it came up from returned from the Festival Theatre. Albert Calland was the stage manager for the theatre at the time. I used to go to school with his daughter, and his daughter suggested I go and help him at Christmas over the pantomime. And I came to help with that pantomime, and on Boxing Day the electrician didn't turn up because he wanted Christmas off. And that was the opening night of the panto, so I said, oh, I'll do that, and I've been doing it ever since.
My name's Ian Douglas, and currently at the moment I direct the Paignton pantomime. I'm also the secretary of the society. I've been involved with Paignton Panto since I was 19 years old in 1980. So that's a long time, and I've also done lots of other shows here. And for pantomime, it's a really special time of year, and I know it is for the audiences, but it also is for us at the cast as well. Behind the safety curtain here, we have our Panto family, which changes each year, but there's a lot of us in it each year. It's a real family atmosphere backstage because it's all around Christmas time. For us, with pantomime, over the years we've started to add much more technical special effects, and we try to outdo ourselves each year, and it's when the audience just collectively gasp at something we've done and you think, yes, we've hit the nail on the head there. So the last time we did Aladdin, we had an elephant come on stage being ridden by Aladdin. That was fantastic. And also in the same show we had a very effective flying carpet which came up and over the band.
The first time I came to the theatre, we sat probably where I'm sitting now for the pantomime, and I was one of these children that always shouted out, "He's behind you!" and all that. And at the end, when they came on, the dame at that time threw me out a chocolate biscuit and said thank you for shouting out. So that was my first recollection of this theatre.
I haven't said anything about the pantomime life here, have I? Did I mention that?
Were you in the pantomime?
I was Robin Hood.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, didn't you?
You had a feather in your cap, literally.
Yes, feather in my cap. I was 15, I think, something like that. And oh, it was great fun. My boots were Wellington boots that were painted silver. Oh, it was all,
A really stylish Robin.
It was very, very stylish indeed.
Hi, I'm Linda Lear, and I have the privilege of being the chair of the Torbay and South West of England Festival. Been chair for 25 years and connected with the festival for 42. And this is Sheila, my dear friend.
Well, I'm Sheila Thorndike, and I've been connected with the festival since 1941, which was when we had the first festival.
The great value of this theatre, John here was asking, what it means to us.
Yeah.
The thing about this theatre, I think, Sheila, I don't know if you agree with me, and the great value of it is its size. It's big enough to take all those choral speaking groups and the choirs and the dancing and the ballet
Absolutely.
groups. And yet it's small enough to be so intimate.
So the festival's in 3 different sections. There's a music section, there's a dance section, and there's a verse and drama section. And we've got different classes. So in the music section we've got classes for all different instruments and singing and choirs and barbershop, and people come along and perform. So the festival gives an opportunity to people to come and perform live in front of an audience and receive feedback from international adjudicators and examiners, and that means that they can improve and they get valuable feedback from adjudicators and go back to their lessons with their teacher, and they know what to work on.
What does it mean to you when you see your students perform on stage?
Yeah, when I see my students performing, I get nervous for them. I feel butterflies, just like I'm sure they do, as they get up on stage and they sit down at the piano or they're singing. And afterwards I feel really proud of what they've achieved and what we've achieved together. And it's nice to see them winning trophies and medals and coming away with a certificate and going back to their families, and you can see how proud their families are of them as well.
Heather, and I love this theatre. I first met it when I was an evacuee at Teignmouth. Bill Coysh was arranging the festival here so that evacuees could mix and feel at home, more at home, by joining in with the children in the bay.
I was an evacuee from Plymouth. We were bombed in Plymouth and came up here. And going to school brought me into the festival because all the schools participated. Well, the Garrison Theatre operated as a sort of a concert for all the troops, men and women in uniform, on a Sunday, which was free. They came in free. And I was often the compere or the commere then. And we had the most famous people, violinists, musicians, singers. And some of those, I was so young, I didn't realise how wonderful they were. I had to introduce them. The one night I wasn't on duty, Glenn Miller came. Broke my heart that I wasn't here to introduce him.
This building was built in 1889 as the Paignton Public Hall, built by the Paignton Public Hall Company. In 1920, the Paignton Urban District Council purchased the building and it became the Public Hall Theatre. During the Second World War, it was named the Garrison Theatre. In 1984, the building went through a major refurbishment, building a box office at the front of the theatre and a new entrance. And in 2006, altered again with a new entrance and a raked auditorium as opposed to the stalls in the balcony.
So we have a Friends of the Palace Theatre, and they bucket collect at the end of the night. People put donations in. People can join to be a friend of the Palace Theatre, and then they help with the sort of the nuts and bolts. So if we need a new Hoover, or if we need some paint, then the Friends of the Palace help us out with that.
Welcome to our basement. This is our workshop and store and general location. Anything we need is down here. We do all our repairs down here. When first built, this was a drill hall and was used by the Army Reserves, if it was called the Army Reserves then. And then between the wars, they actually installed an anti-aircraft gun in the basement here for training purposes. And there's a track on the floor and a bigger track further over, and the whole thing used to rotate. Just behind me, there's a storeroom full of cloths for the scenery for pantomime, and down the far end is where we build the scenery and have the props for Bijou Theatre. On the right hand side is the scenery from pantomime, and then scattered about there's scenery from all different societies and shows. If you need it, it's usually down here.
This is one of our lovely dressing rooms. We have lots of performers and artists that come in and use these. This is backstage, this is upstairs. We have 2 dressing rooms on this level, and then downstairs we have another 4, and we have a shower room and a kitchen area. And when the performers arrive, we like to we always give them some flowers on arrival and a little card to sort of wish them best of luck for their show.
And the dressing room situation has greatly improved.
Greatly improved and greatly enhanced.
Yes.
By the rooms downstairs.
Yeah, well,
the badminton hall. It's got a
the
new name
badminton
now.
hall.
They've changed the name. It's badminton hall to us.
It was known at the badminton hall in the 1940s, and we used to have dances in there. You know, not festival dances, but ballroom dances. You know.
So here we are in stage left, which is one of just one of the many spaces that we have in this fabulous theatre. It's all just been redecorated and brought back to some of its former glory. We've still got more work to do, but this is where Doorstep create magic. And this is where you can come around a corner one day and see kids aged from 2 to 18 singing, dancing, laughing.
I'm Erin Walken and I'm one of the co-directors of Doorstep Arts.
And I'm Jade Campbell and I'm one of the other co-directors of Doorstep Arts.
So Doorstep Arts is the theatre company in residence here at the Palace Theatre, and we use the stage left space 3 nights a week, and this space is really special. So the courses that run here at the theatre are special because we have access to things like stage lighting, amazing amenities, an actual sound system, but also we've got the link to the main house auditorium and to the team here who know what they're doing. So it's a training ground for young people who are interested in going into careers in theatre.
And what's also great about that is if a young person hasn't been in a theatre before, you're using this space to get familiar with it, and then we'll take them up to the main auditorium and they get to experience what it's like to be on stage for the first time, which is really exciting. Big ones that stands out to me, there's 2. So there was one called Grit that we created and devised with young people, and we actually chose to perform in here, in stage left, and I think that was quite remarkable because it was an original piece that they had written and devised, and it was a really magical moment to have such a unique perspective and performance that young people had created themselves. So basically, our third director, Meg, was running a group called, which I now run because she's not around, called Saturday Drop-In in Torquay, and the children in the youngest group, so they're 4 to 7-year-olds, they said to Meg, we really want to fly on the stage, and she was like, how are we going to help them fly? Because obviously we're not going to strap them all into harnesses. There's like 15 little tiny people. So what we did is we got the older Doorstep Youth Theatre group to lift them into the air and help them fly, and I think that was probably one of the most beautiful moments.
They were really flying.
They were flying, and there's photos of them with
their faces.
Yeah.
And I have very fond memories of watching the radio play that you guys did with Sound Communities here as well, actually. It's really nice to come and see things that I haven't created here because it's such a dynamic space and there's loads of people using it all the time. So I enjoy coming as an audience member as well.
Unfortunately, during the Paignton Festival in 2019, the headline act wasn't able to perform because there were strong winds and heavy rain. So the festival committee contacted us and asked us whether we had any spare capacity on our stage for the night, and we said yes. So within 24 hours we'd put the show on, we'd sold out completely, and we had the most brilliant night here. Loads of support from the marshals from the festival, and such a fun time that the Freddie Mercury act came back in 2020 and we had another sellout performance. I'm delighted that we were the launch pad for Lost the Plot Theatre. They created Billy Goat's Gruff here, and now they're touring it nationally. A young theatre company, and we were able to just give them the space that they needed. We've worked with Theatre North, we've worked with lots of different people that have never come to the Palace before. And some of the really special ones, Lucy Worsley was just fabulous. Any questions was brilliant. To meet Jonathan Dimbleby was just such a thrill. To have Jason Donovan in the theatre was a thrill too, from somebody who had been a big fan for years. Jack Dee, Goodfish Joe, John Chalice, Paul Gascoigne. People that when we put them on our programme, we had telephone calls saying, really? At the Palace Theatre? And we said, yes, really. So we've had lots of full houses.
This is Jill Farrand on my left.
Hello.
And she has been with the Bijou for more years than we care to think about.
Thank you.
And when it was the original theatre down in Hyde Road, I'm Wendy Kaplan. Jill is the artistic director and I'm the company manager. It's the 65th year, not here, but 65th year in total. It started in 1954 in the little theatre in Hyde Road, and this year would have been our 65th year. And what makes us original amongst all the other amateur companies is you can't join to act, you join to watch, and we choose a director who chooses a play, who chooses the cast.
So everything is done by invitation.
And that is quite original in the Bay. There's no other theatre company like that. And it works on the premise of trying to provide reasonable price, good plays for people in the community.
Agatha Christie, of course, is the local big name, the queen of crime and all this jazz. And we felt that she should be honoured because she's brought such fame to the area. So we thought we should do an Agatha Christie early summer season. So we did one, and it was a great success. And holidaymakers came, and local people came, and then we did another one, and holidaymakers actually book their holiday so that it comes at the same time as we're here doing the Agatha Christie.
And it is our home.
Yes.
We came up here when we lost the little theatre, and it's been our home for 34 years, and we regard it as our second house, really.
Yes.
It's very special. We really, really feel at home here and most welcome, and just, we just love it.
So, from March 2020, it's been a bit of a different picture in the theatre. It's been dark. It's been dark and it's been sad. And I think I probably spent the first month just crying because we'd worked so hard. And I watched the programme just slip away day after day. And it was really, really tough for that to happen because there were people that we'd spent ages coveting and trying to get to the theatre, and there were dance schools that were due to have their performances, and there was our annual dance festival, and all of that just went. And every time we have to move another act, it's just, your heart breaks just a little bit more. But you know that 2021 is around the corner, and we're hopeful that everything's going to get back to some kind of normal. But all we can do is just let people know that the theatre's still here, we're still engaged, we're still madly in love with her, and we are doing everything we can just to make it better. So there's been a lot of painting going on, there's been a lot of planning going on.
I'm Deirdre Makepeace, one of the directors of Jazz Hands. We're a community interest company, and what we've started up during lockdown is a new charitable programme called Theatre Angels, and it's really a bit of a venture of us to build our strong links with the community. We recognise that a lot of people have been disenfranchised, people are suffering hardship, people are vulnerable, and the Theatre Angels is an opportunity for us to engage benefactors and organisations in enabling people from these disadvantaged groups to come and enjoy live theatre. So it's a new scheme. Benefactors can pay anything from £20 to £250 and help improve the access for our wider community to this wonderful theatre.
And we look forward to just being how we used to be, and look forward to having the team back and laughing. Really laughing and seeing those audiences that just say thank you. We've missed them as much as they've missed us.
They're all wonderful. All the staff have always been something maybe about the theatre does it to them because they give their best.
The team that run this theatre have got so much energy, and they're so keen and they're so positive.
It feels like there's been a lot of love in the theatre in the time since they came in.
This is such an incredible institution. It's run by wonderful people. Maureen McAllister, she brings her team together to keep culture and the arts live in Torbay.
And all the people that work for Maureen and Deirdre.
They are an incredible team.
And they have the same sort of loyalty to each other and to the companies that come in to use the theatre.
What I've seen is a real transformation in terms of the amount of care and love that is invested in-house and kind of passionate belief in what this building is possible.
And they've done so much for this theatre since they've been here, and the audiences have just grown and grown.
Clive.
And sparkly doors on toilets.
Yes, sparkly doors on toilets.
Sorry, Clive, I didn't mean to put you right next to the sparkly doors on the
Clive
toilet.
has been brilliant. Clive is great. He's so responsive and he really listens and really helps us, and it's been fantastic.
All the team love the theatre, which makes a great deal of difference because they're all wanting to make it better and better all the time.
And that's when Jazz Hands came along with Maureen and Deirdre, and we hit it off with them from the start. Those ladies are absolutely passionate about this building. and they aren't going to let it fail. Nothing is going to stop them, not even COVID.
So this theatre's been here since 1890, and she's going to be here in the future too, because there is far too much love, passion, support for this theatre for it to be any other way.